CQ Raynet, this is G4NRC, Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the Raynet UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators. Primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information, and additional information can be found at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control operator unless you're instructed otherwise, and all Raynet UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately, then please call in and out. If you wish to leave on subsequent turns, then please make it clear you wish to leave at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I will repeat I've heard. If it's not acknowledged, then please try again, and if you miss your turn to call in, I will be calling for any strays at missed that turn at the end of the UK and international sections. So I'll now begin taking check-ins to the Raynet UK weekly activity net as usual in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 8 in their call sign, please call now. G4 and RC, over.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee. Name is Mike. Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform. Name's Bob. Good afternoon, Greg. No traffic, in and out.
G4 and RC, I've got Mike, Golf 8 Echo Yankee staying with me, and good afternoon Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, who's in and out. Any other reds, please? G4 and RC, over. See, nothing heard, so let's have 7. Stations figure 7 in their call sign, please. G4 and RC, over.
G7, Uniform Oscar Delta, G7 UID. No traffic, in and out.
Morning, 7, Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon. In and out, this week, please, Greg. Yeah, 7, Alpha Victor Oscar.
For RC, okay, I've got Hugh, Golf 7 Uniform Oscar Delta in and out, and Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, also in and out. Thanks guys, any other 7s please? G4 and RC, over. Then it's the 6s, let's have stations with figure 6 in their call time please. G4 and RC, over.
Golf 6, Papa Delta Echo. My name is Chris.
RC, good afternoon Chris, Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo. Any other 6s please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing else, let's have 5, stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. For RC, we've got many 5s yet, so let's go for the 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please. G4 and RC, over.
G4 KR, South Sussex.
G4WUB with Quebec Bravo, Keith.
Go. Oh, Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, G4HUF, Phil, David. Oh, hey, correct. Let's do the list. G4KIL, Philip, good afternoon. Please Golf for Whiskey Quebec Bravo, good afternoon to you. Phil, Golf for Hotel Uniform Foxtrot. Lots of audio drops as far as I'm getting, Phil. So, gather you could stay with me from the cadence of the over, but it was not a great one for packet loss as far as I could hear. Any other fours, please? G4 and RC, over. 4 Echo Mike Oscar Portable. Golf 4 Echo Mike Oscar Portable. Name is Tim, and it's in and out, please, Grace. Golf 4 Echo Mike Oscar. Good afternoon, Tim, and interesting to hear you portable. Copied you in and out, hopefully you're having a good day. Okay, let's move from the 4s to the 3s. Any stations figure 3 in that call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. Golf 3, Zulu Hotel X-Ray, Ian. Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, sunny Winchester, 8 degrees. Good afternoon, Greg. In and out this afternoon. G3VH. G4 and RC, so good afternoon, Ian. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray staying with me. And Chris in sunny Winchester, although my junior operator up there probably won't appreciate it today after the hangover from the night before. Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel is copied as in and out. Any other 3s, please, over? For an RC, nothing heard, so let's have the 2s. Stations figure 2 in their call sign. That includes you as immediate 2s. Please call now. For an RC, over. 2 Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra. Calling from Midway, in and out. G4 and RC, good afternoon, Colin. 2 Echo 0, Charlie Mike Sierra. Copied you in and out. Any other 2s, please? G4 and RC, over. 'Nothing heard, so let's have 1s. Stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call, any stations figure 1 in their call sign, please call now. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing, so let's go for, as usual, the Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, over. There's Mike 0, Golf Form Yankee, name's Guy. In and out today, please, Greg. Thank you very much. Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Drew, also in and out today, but thanks for all you're doing, Greg. G4 and RC, I'm missing Cornwall. Good afternoon, Guy. Got Mike 0, Golf Uniform Yankee, and Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra. Both in and out, thanks for the bouquets and the thanks. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over?
Lindsay, hi, Alan calling again.
Mike, in the Tango Mike, in Cornwall, in and out. Thank you, Greg.
Zero Whiskey Extra Shirley in Cornwall, also in and out. Thank you, Greg.
Mike, India 0, Mike, Sierra Oscar, both on Northern Ireland.
G4NRC, now my day feels more complete. Alan, Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, acknowledge staying with me. Andy, Mike 0, India Tango Mike, and Shirley, Mike 0, Whiskey X-Ray Golf, Aaron Cornwall, both in and out. And Philip, Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar is copied. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secretary identifier, over? Then, with nothing heard, it's down to the Golf 0. Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please. G4 and LC, over.
Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy. Raynet, Pembrokeshire, sunny West Wales. No traffic today, so in and out, please. Over.
G4 and RC. Good afternoon, Andy. Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Copied you in and out. I do need to get back to you with an email you sent about the Ofcom stuff. Since you wound up with me, but still trying to find the time. So with apologies for that, let's shortcut it a bit. Any UK station who's missed their turn to call in, please call now. G4 and RC, over.
Go 14 uniform Juliet, Trevor in Moffat.
G4 and RC, acknowledged Trevor. G4KUJ, making sure that Alan's not the last on the list. Right, let's have any international liaison stations, please. That's normally our colleagues of Arran in Ireland, Note-Samband in Norway, Aries in Slovakia, etc. Any international liaisons, please. G4 and RC, over.
Lima for 16 Mike, name is Hans, in and out.
Lima Alpha 6, India Mike. Good afternoon, Hans. You're copied and noted is in and out. Okay, any final station, national, UK or international, who's missed their turn to call in, please call now. G4 and RC, over. Nothing heard. Okay, G4 and RC. Today's net is not being live streamed by Graham G7 and AH to YouTube stage due to family commitments, but it is being recorded for uploading later. So if you want to hear how your audio sounds, please be patient for Graham to edit the top and still off and do the upload. Those past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7 NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel on YouTube. Storm Isha was rapidly followed by Storm Jocelyn with sadly some fatalities, and it's quite pleasant in a way not to have to report yet another named storm on the way. However, we do have more localised weather warnings in England and Scotland through to Wednesday, primarily the northwest of England for rain and northwest of Scotland for wind. So it's not totally gone away. One news item attracted my attention this week, and that was the inability of some Tesla vehicles to be charged in freezing conditions. This is a limitation of lithium battery technologies, that you can't charge them below zero. But for groups who've been looking at alternative power sources, I'm wondering if they've considered the abilities to work in all weathers, or at least keeping your batteries warm. And finally, thanks again to those members who submitted representations to Ofcom before last Monday's deadline. They have certainly got their attention, along with the representations that were sent in from some local resilience officers and forums. There's no further news at this time, since Ofcom are having to discuss the ways forward with the primary users of some bands. But you will have seen on Friday what the Raynet representation looked like, and it was evolving right up to Monday as we were getting back and forth queries from Ofcom. So you pretty much know as much as I do. So with that, let's go round and see what the news is from everybody else. Mike, Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee from G4 and RC.
G4NRC from G8 EEY, stand by with your pencil. Yeah, it's a remarkably warm 7 degrees centigrade, although it does feel lower than that with the wind chill. 1019 millibars, 86% relative humidity, 35% cloud cover. So it's quite sunny really. 30 mile an hour winds from 183, which meant that our tests in advance of the Long Distance Walkers Association 50-mile race in 2 weeks' time that we did this afternoon, unfortunately, 4 people who went up to Sheringham ended up getting a bit chilly, but there you go. And yes, on that event we will be using crossband talk-through because we do not have any terraforming facilities to get rid of the land that's in the way. Yes, I'm using lithium iron phosphate batteries in Land Rover, and they are in plastic boxes, the usual battery containing boxes, and they are padded inside with thermal insulation. As yes, lithium ion batteries and such like do not go in below freezing, but then again neither did my cancel from the others. They don't like being charged and they don't like being discharged, and quite often they won't produce any voltage to speak of if you try and use them. So they definitely do need insulation. From G8 EEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee G4 and RC. Yes, temperatures on any batteries, including lead acids, are a bit problematic. What you brought to mind there with the plastic boxes and thermal insulation was a very, very old article in an American magazine for a repeater deployed on a Canadian mountaintop, where they took a chest freezer already blessed with much insulation, put even more insulation inside surrounding the equipment, and then bolted a frame and a set of solar panels to it because this thing had to be totally autonomous on the mountaintop, which was inaccessible for many weeks of the year. But it kind of made it the case that the thing is overkill on insulating and looking after your kit if you're going to put it into harsh environments. So, thanks for that update, Mike. I think I covered everything correctly. Trevor will say so if I was wrong. Next to Chris, Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, G4 and RC. Over.
Good afternoon, Greg and everyone from a sunny Ipswich. Only news to report is that Hotel Sierra 5 Tango Quebec Alpha, the chappie in Bangkok has been building this ESP32 APRS software, has made another release. Slightly bad news is that it doesn't build when you git cloned it and tried to build it, it failed. But the fix is simple, and I'm just raising an issue with that and fixed it and done a build now. I'm hoping at some point it's going to include a simple TNC type capability over Bluetooth, which he has done on another version that he built. So I'm waiting to see. Nothing more from me, Greg. This is G6PDE.
6 PDE G4 and RC. Okay, interesting. It's just interesting how it must have obviously built for him to be uploaded, but he didn't notice the issue with others. So yeah, I'll hold off, or rather it'll stay on the massive list of projects I'm meant to be getting around to. As discussed with Graham G78, with an eye to the new license conditions, Life has started targeting older radios, but still perfectly good, for APRS use on 2 meters, which will sit underneath the 5 watts limit. So my old THD7 handheld 5 watts out with built-in TNC is very likely to pop up on the glorious whatever day the new license comes in on. And we will no doubt see a lot of surges of people trying out the new toys, but we need to be sure we have to keep things afterwards. There are certain areas around the country which have Raynet's pretty much taken over APRS and runs all the digis, so we need to keep that spirit going if we can, once it's more accessible for all. Right, thanks for the update, Chris. Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4 and RC, over.
G4 LRC from G4KL. Thanks very much, Greg. Yeah, a few things. Sometimes successfully operating crossband, keeping an eye on the dashboard on the screen here, make sure it hasn't cut out. But it does look like I've got it to keep going, so I'm actually talking on 44625 handheld. And we're just going about less than a metre, I think, from one antenna to the other. But I might, when it comes around next time, I might have gone to the building next door, which I'm looking to do some stuff here anyway. And so if I don't come back, that didn't work. But that seems to be working now, which is good. Yes, the other thing to mention, I was listening on the, well, you'll see from the report on that I put in, I was listening on the HF net earlier this afternoon, but I was hoping to come in via a club flex radio, but I didn't manage to get it turned on in time, so that's why I was actually missing, and sadly I'm actually missing for the month that's coming, both the Thursdays for the first and the Wednesdays following, both not great tough evenings from my point of view. I did mention last week, and I think you mentioned, Greg, I should stick something on the HF redirector, which I will do probably this week. But I hope to do an HF demo at the South Sussex Raynet face-to-face meeting on the February the 6th, I think it's a week on Tuesday in the evening. So it might be nice if I can get this Flex radio access via the laptop. It might be nice to hook somebody on that. So that was that. Oh yes, I did. I managed to I got invited to sit on a Teams meeting for the voluntary side of the local Resilience Forum locally here in Sussex, which was quite interesting. And they mentioned was it National Consortium for Societal Resilience second meeting in Manchester on the 4th and 5th of March. I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. It looked like I even get some cheap tickets together, and so I discovered it's 175 quid to book in for it, for the meeting itself. And so that's probably puts it outside my level of interest, but well, I mentioned it anyway, because it sounds like it's a good talking shop, which maybe something useful for us will come from it, but we will see. Great. Back to you then, Greg, G4RC from G4KL.
G4 KIL, G4 and RC returning. I'm just seeing both links come up. Okay, yeah, your crossband is going okay. To me, the audio sounds a little more distorted than usual, but I'm not convinced yet. Yes, I did see a report on the HF net, and my observation, which will go out on the emails when I get round to it, is it kind of reinforced why we have the net discipline we should have, and what we particularly do on DMR. Everybody knows it's about 6 seconds for various units to lock and unlock, so you can't just break in quickly and expect to get through, and you must be acknowledged before you can speak. So that was kind of missing on the Olivia net today, which suffers similar numbers of seconds delays between audio stopping and typing stopping and stuff like that. So yeah, you got people jumping in, it shouldn't have been, which was continued a little frustrating because otherwise conditions were very good. And for those interested in the HF variety but not on the HF list, it's worth looking at F2 critical frequencies. The implication from the Chiltern I understand is that you could even get, albeit digitally, into UK paths on 10 megahertz at the moment. It's doing very well propagation as long as the sun doesn't do anything nasty with any coronal mass ejections and so good storms. Okay, look forward. I'll make another note for the 6th, since my bit of post-it has already fallen off, so I'll make another note for the 6th and look forward to the reminder about that. Right, let's go to Heath, Golf 4, Whiskey Quebec Bravo, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC G4WQB. Just a very quick one for me. Last week there was a problem because my signal was clipping. I just wondered whether or not it was because I was shouting, trying to get through to you without the radio, all the way from Aylesbury to Chester, or whether it was just something else. G4 NRC G4WQB.
G4 WQB, G4 and RC. Keith, your audio is fantastic this week. No problems as far as I can see, and Trevor's not typing anything at first and still log either. So, no, audio is fine, Keith. Maybe it was enthusiasm, we don't know. However, next it's Phil, who was suffering some audio dropouts last time round. G4, HUF, G4 and RC, over.
G4HUF returning. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, all. And thanks for sorting out my man with his Raynet email problems. Clearly he's a happy bunny now, so that's good. I've got an intelligent question. Well, I think it's an intelligent question. Whether the rest of people on the net would agree, I don't know. But I've been having a route around trying to see whether there's any sort of protocols or standards for setting up DMR kit for Raynet use on simplex operation, and I have found nothing. Is it a free-for-all, or is there some sort of guidance available in that regard? So hopefully the audio is coming through loud and clear, and you can answer that question for me, Greg. G4 NRC, this is G4HUF.
G4HUF, G4 NRC. Okay, in that kind of order. Raynet email problems, yeah, no problem. Worth pointing out, because I do fear this is happening. If anybody's not receiving their emails every Friday with the Raynet news in, then please go to your Office 365 account, which was set up for you, and a password was sent out to make sure your mail diversion is working correctly. If you're having problems getting password resets and not answer off the appropriate email contact, then please let your ZC know, and we will try and unblock things, which is what I did for Phil's group last week. Protocol for DMR on simplex is twofold, Phil, as in it's a problem but not wholly solved yet. There are some early versions which are proposing using talk group 9 or a wholly different talk group for trying to get away from real users. The whole aim of having this server is we're getting people much more used to the idea that they have talk groups set up for their county, so and their group even, so they can use those talk groups and simplex point to point as they would for anything else, as if the server wasn't here and the repeaters and so on weren't here. The problem that still exists is that I have no means at the moment of segregating the sparse number of Raynet channels we have, emergency communications services channels we have, between DMR and analog. Because analog will very definitely notice the interference from DMR signals on the same frequency. DMR does not suffer the same in reverse, not as easily. So it's a double-edged sword, but we've got Philip further down who might tell us a bit about what they've done in Northern Ireland. But the idea at the moment is use your current county or group talk groups on whatever frequency you can, but listen carefully for any interference. Let's see what the rest of the team thinks, though. Ian, Golf 3, Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC in the group, G3ZHX. I cannot comment on simplex. I'm still having trouble getting my head around that myself, on DMR, that is. and I think I'm going to drop out here, so don't come back to me on the next round. Thank you for running the Greg, and I'll be around next week, I hope. T3ZHX.
Three. My turn system was slow to start up. Call 3 Zulu Hotel X-ray T4NRC. Okay, copied you out on this one, Ian. And while you were talking, it just re-wobbled my head that Graham, she's got many H, and I would use DMR in a very hyper-local form on an event with one of our double-hatted St John and Raynet colleagues. I can't remember what talk group we used for that, but probably something off-piste, just so that the general scanners wouldn't find it that easily, because what's the point of having a hotline if anybody can listen to it? Okay, thanks for coming on. Hopefully hear you next week. Next but not last, Alan, Mike Zero Juliet Sierra Alpha G4NRC.
Yeah, good afternoon, Phil. Greg Size. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to hear a good number of calls in today, which is nice. I'm using a somewhat fancy hotspot running with the W stuff. So what's it called? I've got what's called a WPSD. Very pretty. Seems to work quite well. I've got making problems with the RF board in the hotspot, so it may disappear if you're all lucky. Two things really then. DMR standards for simplex and Raynet use. Yeah, we did have a thought about it here. We've created a talk group 260, because that's our group number. For no other reason, and also 260 avoids anything out on the public DMR. And also for simplex analog, we're using CTCSS 151.4 because that's very close to military 150. So that allows us to interact with military radios, which has a fair few about, but that's just a sad local thing really, which we haven't, to be fair, used in anger as of yet. Talk groups are a bit of a problem because people are using, can't even say the word, promiscuous mode, or any channel on the radio can pick them up regardless of what the talk group is. So there's no secrecy on that, in the same way there's no secrecy on the CTCSS. The only thing is if you're using it on business mobile frequency, say, or under user request, you can run encryption on the DMR so people can't hear what you're saying if they do hear you. So that's that one. I'm interested in the old Quansheng UVK5 firmware changes. All these different versions of firmware available for that, mainly because the AM reception on the standard is useless. I wonder what other people were using. There seems to be several about. IJV has been recommended as one. I don't know if anybody else has got any experience or recommendations otherwise before we blow a radio. And I've got one more thing next time round. Back to you, Greg.
Zero Juliet Sierra Alpha G4NRC. Okay, Alan. I don't have any word on the firmware changes after getting the infamous €50 DMR sets. Years ago, it feels like it must be, and swapping that to Open GD77 and then finding the problems with that firmware time to time. I've not looked at any firmware changes apart from the manufacturer's recommended ones, so we'll see what others have got to say for you. Right, 2 to go on this shout, and we've had 21 called in for anybody's lost count, so it is a good day today. Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, out to you, Philip, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, NI0, MSO. Yeah, good afternoon, Craig, and everybody else in the head. Yeah, a couple of things there you mentioned about weather warnings and whatnot. Well, you didn't mention all the tracks that you say, but you didn't mention Northern Ireland. There is actually a current yellow warning in place for today up to 2000 hours this evening, but no more for during the week as yet. But hopefully after the last 2 storms, things are going to calm down. We've had enough of that. DMR, simplex, yes, anything we've used it here, we've just used talk group 9, but I like the idea. I think it was Alan or somebody mentioned about using your group number as a top group. That's maybe something we might look at in the future. And we also mentioned encryption. Problem with encryption is between the different platforms, the encryption is incompatible. You have to be all Motorola or all Hypera or whatever. So that's the simple encryption that comes with J, which can cause an issue when you've quite a few different operators using different sets. But there you are, it is what it is, and we haven't actually standardized anything as such. But that's all from here at the moment, Greg, over.
I can do 0 Max Sierra Oscar G4 and RC. Okay, my apologies. I did look at the Met Office just briefly as I was putting the script together. I didn't see Northern Ireland on that list, so this now I'm sorry, Philip. But yeah, I was more looking at the idea we still had weather warnings running through to Wednesday, which was a few days longer on than I really wanted. But yeah, I agree. It could do with just calming down a bit. Not likely to happen in the northwest. We've got heavy rain coming though. The Lake District gets its name for a reason. Noted the idea of using group number, but this is equally partly as more and more people are setting up to use the Raynet server, more likely to hopefully have a 50 group number and then whatever talk group you want to use on your individual event out of the 100 selected to split things up using all the benefits of talk-through, a bit like CTCSS for separating traffic on a single channel. But all things we should practice before use beforehand, just like encryption. I know advanced encryption isn't compatible between different units. I still have some hope that because of the number of copies of the DMR firmware around by certain slightly Chinese manufacturers, that there may be some compatibility at the basic level. The fundamental question is our user services do not actually describe exactly what encryption they want. So you could give them 56 bits of nothing encryption and they'd still think it was encrypted. So we're not getting a clear steer about how much we have to scramble things up, other than to avoid general listening. Right, we'll come back to the round to that one in the next round. But Trevor, quick one from you. G4KUJ, G4 and RC over.
G4 and RC in the group, G4KUJ. Yeah, good afternoon, Greg and everyone else. Not much done at this end, just to report that my 20100 setup is still not operational. It's about 20 dB down on receive. I haven't had the opportunity or the weather to take the kit outside and realign the dish. So that's all from me. I won't come back on the next over, but I will carry on the logging, Craig. So in regards to you and everyone else, G4 in RC, G4KUJ.
We'll do that again. Yeah, not on the transition dropped out. I need to look at all the responses for Region 1 and decide what a exercise program looks like for the remainder of the year and see what we can get people to do. Okay, 7-3, thanks for your help with the logging, and let's go back to the top of the list. And Mike, Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC over.
G4 NRC from G8EY. On the last round, I forgot to mention that actually useful information from people like journalists and reporters out and about with battery-powered items like tape recorders. Quite often they used to take the batteries out, put them in a plastic bag and hide them in their underpants to keep them warm so that they only got cold once they were into the equipment. And other things like keeping your microphone waterproof by shoving it in a condom. So quite a lot of condoms used by journalists like that to keep things up, stop them getting wet. Must admit, I've tended to go for the middle of the range by using any tone, especially the 878 series. Apart from the expense of Motorola and Hytera. And I've used others at the lower end and found them to be lacking in stability and usage. They sometimes do some very strange things. And back in the day when Raynet used to get involved in such things as search and rescue type manoeuvres, we always had pre-arranged code words from the organisers in charge, so we never actually put anything out on the air that could be misconstrued by anybody else, unless they knew the code words. That's about it from me for this time, and thanks for running the net, Greg. Probably see you next week from G8EEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee G4 and RC. Okay, yeah, well, if we could stop doing admin stuff and start doing radio stuff, I'd like to look at the stability issues and get some of the various toys out that I accumulated through COVID and actually deliver some of these things. But yes, I recall outside broadcast teams had a variety of ways of keeping batteries safe from abuse, but also abusing batteries to use them as hand warmers. Two PP3 batteries plugged together makes an interesting back-to-back sort of heater, apparently. But as always, kids, don't try this at home. With regards to pre-arranged code words, trouble is everybody gets to figure it out one way or another. If anybody doesn't know what Inspector Sands is being called for down at Euston Station after all these years, then just hit YouTube and many of the others. The bigger block on code words has been JESIP and the desire for plain language, because what is one person's code black could be somebody else's code brown, or various. So yes, plain speaking became much more the order of the day to affect some of those. Okay, thanks Mike. Talk to you next week. We're moving on to Chris, G6PDE, reminds me of the other conversation I had. So I've got a couple of Pi 2s even, I think they're Pi 2s and very old Pi 3, with a TNC Pi on top, which unfortunately have gone out of production. But I've got a couple more units able to do APRSC and data things, just waiting for the gates to open. G6PDE, G4 and RC, over.
Thanks, Greg. I had a moment of confusion there, so I was thinking of Pi as PYE and thinking I didn't think Pi made any TNCs, and I realised what you were talking Raspberry Pis. Nothing much more to add. I know there's the idea of putting lithium batteries in my underpants. I don't think I'll be doing that for a year, unless I really have to. And we're just prepping up a lithium-ion pack that I recovered from an old laptop to use to drive one of these TNCs. I'm putting one of those little polymer fuses on just to be on the safe side. That's all from me, Greg. This is G6PDE.
G6PDE, G4 and RC. I've got a massive Chatham House rules thing ringing in my ears at the moment, but it's too safety related to not get a partial story. Came across an event where somebody was using a radio from Pi's successors with a 10-year-old battery on it, and said battery decided to blow up in its charger overnight. I expressed concern in the meeting at what was anybody doing using commercially a battery of 10 years, and why hadn't they been replaced at the 2 years the manufacturer recommended. I was equally surprised to find that Simoco, Pi's successors, were actually using lithium cells in radios 10 years ago, which that means time has passed the sleeping little Greg by, or they were a bit leading edge with it. but there is probably a slow warning here about battery charging, making sure you know what's going on with your batteries while they're being charged, should they do something different, and knowing when a battery is past it. So thanks for that inadvertent trigger of memory, Chris. Round to Philip to see whether his change of operating regime is still working. G4KIL, G4 and RC, over.
G4RC, G4KIL. I certainly should be hearing you fine. I think this is the handheld which we have more power than the crossband. So yes, that's fine. Thanks for running the net. I'm just going to walk back and down the other end of the building. Hope I haven't dropped that. Just see if I'm. Oh, I see it on the screen there of the laptop. That sounds hopeful. Yeah, that's great. So hopefully speak to you all again next week. Just my final one, it might be useful, Greg, if you were to acknowledge the fact that I'm running a crossband on 2 meters when you respond to me, in case there's anybody locally listening on 2 meters, wondering what on earth this net is doing on it and not hearing me, which is possible since the antenna on the crossband is rather more efficient than the one on the handheld. Hope that makes sense. Say 73 now, speak to you hopefully next week. G4K out.
G4KIL, G4 and RC. Oh dear, that's triggered the, how can I make up a phrase for that? So yes, this is G4 and RC, Golf Romeo Romeo Charlie, running the Raynet UK weekly activity period on top groups 23531, Phoenix and Brandwester, and 50 23531 on the Raynet UK server, and noting that our signals may be relayed by licensees using remote control operation, as you like to talk through. You are remote controlling your kit in this case, Phil. That's the way I'm making it. So yes, of course, if we did that on how many people actually declare when they're using Clause 10 remote control to their remote controller? Some do, but I'm guessing not all. Right, Sandries, Phil, thanks to you. Keith, Golf 4, Whiskey Quebec Bravo from a slightly distracted G0DUB, G4 and RC, over.
G4NRC, G4WQV. Thanks for everything, Greg. All very interesting. Nothing more from me this evening, and I'm going to pull out now. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
G4WQV, GC. Okay, thanks. Copied no more, and hopefully speak to you next week. Phil, who had the intelligent question, I'm wondering if you copied any suitable answers. G4HUF, G4 and RC, over.
This is G4HUF. Yeah, that was useful, Greg. If nothing else, because one thought that came up, the idea of using the group number as a tour group number was something similar to what I was thinking. Going with the server allocation of 100 talk groups per group, I'm sure that say the top 5 or top 10 group numbers that are allocated, if they were utilised for simplex working, would be the very logical choice in that regard. I'm not going to worry about encryption. That's something that's getting too far ahead of myself. I'm still going to get the second TYT program to work on this system. I had a quick go at it during the week, but domestic issues are taking a very high priority, and a little bit of work that I've done on it hasn't at the moment, so I need to go back and study that and see what my deliberate mistake was. So that's the score from me. So thank you for the answers. They are all appreciated, and I think that well, if nothing else, it gives us all something to think about in that regard if we do go down that route of using simplex. But of course, it also applies to possible DMR repeater use as well. So with that, I shall say thank you for running the net. Thank you for giving me some inspiration. And I'll duck out and continue to monitor to the end of the net. This is G4HUF.
Right, let's try that again while I'm watching the screen rather than watching the basketball. Nope, still not there. G4NRC now lighting up Grandmeister and Phoenix. Okay, caution on using the group talk group on repeater networks that are not Raynet UK or even on Raynet UK. Our group talk group, our group numbers are quite extensive and might overlap with existing use on things like Phoenix. Hence, where Alan was using 260, they're mainly Phoenix down there, so it doesn't clash with anything else. Not sure how it would clash on Brandmeister with any legacy 3-digit groups or 3 digits that might be hanging around, because I think there are some really short ones that can be used. The 100 talk group allocation per group, yeah, that's a massive number, but it was around the talk group formatting on the Raynet server, allowing for use for VoIP extensions as well. So having 99 of anything per group, 99 DMR, 99 data DMR, 99 VoIP extensions for use on mesh, etc., all produced one nice common scheme which we could then tie together if you could ever figure out, as some people have, doing a telephone to DMR interconnection. So yes, suggestion on reserving some of the 100 groups for simplex use will be down to a county-by-county basis. At the moment in Cheshire and West Cheshire, 80800 and 31200 are all you're likely to hear in use, because we haven't gone any further than that. So yes, it's been very thought-provoking, and I'm sure it will come back to others as well as we go through the next few weeks. Right, sorry, I am trying to multitask watching a basketball final at the same time as doing the net. Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha, round to your Alan, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame to try to multitask when you've got so many people want to talk and you've got to time it out as well. I'll make it as short as I can then. It's not like me, as you know. A couple of things back on the encryption, particularly for the DMR and simplex. Simplex first. You need to be very careful about the DMR modes you set on the radios, because they don't all do the same thing. In fact, I think on the 878 NE2 you set repeater and it comes out simplex. Depends on what the frequencies are. So you really must experiment and check that the settings you're using will talk to the other radios you're using. Don't just assume that one thing will work, because simplex is treated very strangely on DMR because it expects there to be a repeater of some description or a master frequency lock. So beware of that one. Test it first. And the same with encryption. Make sure it works before you use it. Certainly Replicate TYT family of radios. The encryption is not working consistently across the range. So, for instance, RT43 encryption won't work. We'll move to the other models there, the RT3S and stuff like that. So not even consistent across radios. Manufacturers' own radio side. And there is a suggestion that a further upgrade could
0JSA, G4 and RC, please repeat all after upgrade. You dropped out, Alan, over. M0JSA, G4 and RC, you still with me, over? Connection G4 and RC, feels like Alan's lost his battery, so we'll come back to him, just see if he does a change later. But we'll take a final off Philip next. Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4 and RC, over.
G4 LRC, MI0 MSO. No, nothing else to add at this stage, Greg, and thank you for the net.
Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4 and RC. Okay, thanks for that, Philip. Let's try again for Alan, just in case. Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. So I'm struggling with this particular hotspot on receive and transmit, so I may have lost it. I wasn't watching the dashboard, sorry. I did say about encryption isn't even consistent across different major models from the same manufacturer, so you need to be aware and you need to test Metavus, TYT particularly, and firmware updates for the radios may change the encryption protocol they're using, just to confuse you even further. And the last thing I said, you probably didn't hear, Polystar. Understanding it wasn't being updated, I then got an update 4.17 on one of my pies, and now one of them's gone to 4.18, although the other two won't. 4.18 seemed to be a big update, changed lots of files, and it changed the display to be very like the WPSD display with a temperature and stuff. So there may be some changes on the Polystar. That's 73. Have a great week. Thanks for everything, and I'll catch you all later.
Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC. Yes, I kind of roll my eyes when people are going, Polystar is dead, it's not being updated. Once the software hits a certain level of maturity, it shouldn't need to be updated anymore unless something breaks. But the changes being put in, as I understand them, facilitate more use of M17, which is the other open source encryption, open source digital voice mode, which also includes encryption. So in the encryption capable modes that we can use on amateur radio, we will get another one in the form of M17. And I can't remember what the other change was. I did one of the updates. I haven't checked the hotspot to see if it needs a further one from me, because it's this duplex hotspot I'm working through at the moment. It's still on Polystar. But the last update I did, it did break Grandmeister a bit, so I'm a bit reluctant before doing a net to do any need snap updates. So I might give it a hit later, Alan. Thanks for the tip. It might have gone up one version more. Right, that's been a good solid net for an hour. As I said, 21 people checked in, which is a nice response from everybody. So I'll bring the net to a close, thanking everybody for taking time out of their schedules to participate in this afternoon's net and contribute to the discussions. Be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I'll close the Raynet UK Weekly Activity Net and return talk groups 23531 Phoenix and Brandmeister and 23531, correction 50 Raynet UK, back to being an open net rather than a directed net. So all, this is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie now closing and reverting to my normal course sign of Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo. Bye bye.